The glow of Emma Keller's monitor paints her face in fractured blues, the color of memory and sleepless nights. She scrolls through Google Maps like a ghost, retracing its own footsteps, hovering above the quiet cul-de-sacs of Clearwater. "Just one more look," she whispers. The phrase she's repeated for 14 years. The screen blurs, her eyes sting, and then something stops her. A shape, pale and oblong, buried in the algae green of a retention pond behind an old subdivision. The water seems to hold its breath. Emma leans closer, heart thudding. "No," she murmurs. "It can't be." The cursor trembles over the coordinates, and somewhere deep in the map's stillness, the past ripples back to life. By morning, Emma's apartment feels like a crime scene itself. Evidence scattered, hope and horror sharing the same air. She's mapped the coordinates twice, then a third time, her rational mind fighting the voice that whispers you found her. She sends a message to Detective Reyes, the name she's memorized from old case files. "I think I found something near Meadowbrook Pond." The send button glows red for a heartbeat before vanishing. Outside, the sun rises, slicing through the blinds like truth through denial. The day feels too bright for what she's just unearthed. Detective Jordan Reyes sits at her desk when her phone buzzes. Unknown number. Her first instinct is to ignore it, but something in the preview text, Meadowbrook Pond, snaps her back 14 years. The name Keller floats in her mind like a ghost. She answers. Emma's voice is quiet, almost trembling. "Detective Reyes, I think I found my mother." Silence follows, long and hollow. Reyes swallows, staring at the old missing person photo pinned near her monitor. "Miss Keller," she says slowly, "tell me exactly what you saw." Later that day, Emma drives back to Clearwater, her car heavy with memories. The GPS hums directions like a monotone oracle. The old neighborhood feels frozen, lawns trimmed, mailboxes unchanged, the world moving on without her. When she reaches the pond, her chest tightens. The water glistens harmlessly under the sun, betraying nothing. She parks, steps out, and stares across it, her reflection rippling beside invisible secrets. "You were here the whole time," she whispers, voice breaking against the hum of distant cicadas. Back home, Emma uploads the screenshot, labels it with the date and coordinates, then pauses before saving. Her cursor hovers over the folder titled Mom 2009. Inside are hundreds of files, interviews, news clippings, police reports, all fragments of a life interrupted. The new file lands among them with a sterile click, yet it hums with something alive. Emma stares at it until the room feels too small for her grief. In that frozen pixel of pond water, she's found both an ending and a beginning. Detective Jordan Reyes hadn't thought about the Keller case in years. Not since the last press conference where hope collapsed beneath the weight of evidence that never came. But Emma's message stirs something raw. She reopens the old case file, its manila edges soft from time. The missing person flyer stares up at her. Diane Keller, age 45. Gentle smile, last seen driving home from the Clearwater Library. Now, 14 years later, a daughter's pixelated screenshot has dragged the dead back into daylight. Reyes exhales. "All right, Keller," she mutters. "Let's see what the water was hiding." Emma doesn't sleep that night. She can't. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees the shape under the pond, her mother's car entombed in silt. She rechecks the coordinates, comparing years of Google Maps imagery. Older captures show nothing. Newer ones, the pale curve emerging like a whisper. She screenshots everything, overlays, grids, timestamps, shadows. She's chasing certainty but finding ghosts. If I'm wrong, she tells herself, I'll delete it all. But she won't. She can't. The truth has her by the throat. Detective Reyes drives to the address Emma sent. The Meadowbrook Pond looks ordinary. Just another man-made basin reflecting the clean blue sky. But something about the stillness feels wrong. Too rehearsed, too quiet. She leans on the railing, glancing at the "No Trespassing" sign. 14 years, she murmurs. She calls the sheriff's office for drone imaging, her voice even but her pulse racing. She's been on this road before. The road between doubt and revelation. And she knows it never ends gently. Ray's voice cuts through the static of an old intercom. "I want a dive team at Meadowbrook, today." The dispatcher hesitates. The pond had been searched years ago, but Ray's tone leaves no room for negotiation. Meanwhile, Emma refreshes her inbox over and over, waiting for confirmation. When the email arrives, case reopened. Keller, Diane, 2009. She stares at it until her vision blurs. Her mother's name no longer belongs to the past. It's an active investigation again. No, so, McShorf. Q. Tom Keller sits in his worn recliner, the television murmuring background noise when his phone rings. It's Emma, her voice tight. "Dad." They reopen Mom's case. Silence fills the line. A silence so long she thinks he's hung up. Then, "After all this time, Em?" His voice cracks, equal parts awe and dread. "Maybe," she says softly. "We can finally know." He hangs up before she can add more. Across the room, the photo of Diane stares back from the mantel, her smile frozen in eternal, midsummer warmth. The morning the dive team arrives, Clearwater feels unnaturally still. Reporters crowd the perimeter as Detective Reyes watches the divers descend into the opaque green. Emma stands behind the barricade, hands clenched, every heartbeat sensing with the ripples in the pond. Minutes pass. Then a shout breaks through the water's hush. "We've got metal!" Time fractures. The crane's cables strain, pulling from the depths a pale blue Saturn coated in algae and mud. Emma's legs nearly give out. The air smells of rust, rain, and resurrection. "Mom," she whispers, "you were here the whole time." Hours later, Reyes stands by the impound lot, her breath visible in the cool air as technicians document every inch of the recovered car. Inside, a skeletal form sits belted in the driver's seat, hair strands still clinging to bone. Emma watches from behind glass, tears tracing silent paths. "Well, confirm with DNA," Reyes says gently, but Emma already knows. The license plate matches, the make, the year, the dent on the left rear panel. Her mother once cursed in the driveway. The car has become a time capsule. One the Earth finally surrendered. One by evening the world knows. Missing woman found after 14 years. Daughter discovers clue on Google Maps. The headline flashes across every screen. Every station. Reporters swarm Emma's apartment complex, voices and cameras pressing like vultures. She hides behind drawn curtains, her laptop open but untouched. The story that once belonged to her family now belongs to everyone. Detective Reyes fields endless calls. Praise. Disbelief. Conspiracy theories. In the quiet between interviews, she stares at the recovered photo of Diane and whispers, "You should have been found sooner. Tom Keller's house smells like dust and bourbon." When Emma arrives, he's sitting in the dark, TV off, a half-empty glass sweating on the table. "You shouldn't have done this," he mutters. "You shouldn't have stirred it up." Emma freezes. There's fear in his voice, not sadness. "Stirred what up, Dad?" "The truth." He slams the glass down, liquid splashing. Sometimes the truth just hurts people more. She studies him. The tremor in his hand, the way he avoids her eyes. For the first time, her father feels like a stranger standing in her mother's shadow. Back at the precinct, Reyes watches as the evidence team unseals a plastic bag labeled "recovered from vehicle." Inside, a keychain, a library name tag, a cracked cell phone. Each item gleams under the sterile light, artifacts of a life abruptly stopped. She takes notes, every line another thread reattaching itself to the past. Emma sits across from her, silent. You gave her back her name, Reyes says softly. Emma nods, tears held at bay. Then let's give her back her story, the detective adds, and with that, the case becomes something alive again. Detective Reyes scans the preliminary report under the cold buzz of the evidence lab. The car's tires show no signs of braking. The driver's window was down, and the impact pattern suggests the vehicle entered the pond at an unnatural angle. Guided, not lost. Reyes circles key phrases in red. She didn't drive in, she mutters, voice low. Across the table, Emma's eyes wide. Then someone put her there. The hum of the fluorescent lights fills the silence, a sterile soundtrack to the unraveling of a lie 14 years old. Emma drives to her childhood home, now abandoned, the grass tall, the windows clouded with dust. She stands in the doorway, every creak of the floorboard echoing with her mother's laughter. On the wall, near the kitchen, faded pencil marks record her height. Over the years, she runs her hand over them, whispering, "You should have made it past 2009. In the corner, a cracked photo frame catches her eye. Her parents, arm in arm, but something about Tom's forced smile freezes her breath. It's the smile of a man pretending life was still whole. Detective Reyes cross-references the 2009 statements. Tom Keller had claimed he was home watching TV from 8 to 11 p.m., yet his cell records place him 2 miles from the library where Diane worked, less than 30 minutes before she vanished. Reyes rubs her temples. He lied. She prints the record, lays it beside a map, and draws a line from the library to Meadowbrook Pond. If he followed her home, she murmurs, we're not looking at a disappearance. We're looking at intent. The word intent chills the air. Emma searches through old boxes stored in her father's garage. Amid rusted tools and forgotten photo albums, she finds an envelope marked insurance. 2009. Inside, a letter. Diane had listed Emma as her sole beneficiary, not Tom. The date, 1 week before the disappearance. Her pulse quickens. Beneath it, a receipt for tire replacement from a shop near the pond. The mechanic's signature isn't her mother's handwriting. She stares at it until her hands start to shake. The past is no longer whispering, it's screaming. Tom sits across from Detective Reyes, the interrogation room heavy with fluorescent glare. We just need to confirm a few details, she says, voice steady. He nods, hands clasped too tightly. When she slides the cell record toward him, his composure cracks. That's not possible, he stammers. My phone must ver. But Reyes leans forward. You were there, Tom, near the library, near the pond. His eyes dart, searching for an escape that doesn't exist. It was an accident, he whispers finally, voice splintering. I just wanted her to talk to me. The room is quiet after Tom's admission. Not a full confession, but enough to twist the air. It was an accident, he keeps saying, eyes glassy. We argued. She ran off. I followed, and it just happened. Reyes doesn't speak. She lets the silence press against him until it feels alive. Emma watches through the one-way mirror, her face hollow. Every word feels like a blade turned inward. He didn't mean to kill her, she whispers, voice cracking. But the truth isn't in the words, it's in what he never says. Later that night, Emma can't sleep. She sits at her mother's old desk, sifting through a recovered phone file Detective Reyes gave her. Diane's cracked cell phone. Among corrupted data, one voicemail survives. She presses play, static. Then Diane's voice. Tom, please stop calling. I can't do this anymore. A pause. Then softer. Emma, if you hear this, I love you. The message ends abruptly. The timestamp, 10:43 p.m., the night she disappeared. Emma's breath catches. The voice feels like both a goodbye and a warning. The next day, Emma drives back to the pond. The crime scene tape flutters in the wind, its yellow stark against the blue sky. She kneels near the water's edge, fingers tracing the soft mud where her mother's car had been pulled from. "You tried to leave him," she whispers, "and he couldn't let you." The breeze rustles the cattails, sounding almost like an answer. Behind her, Detective Reyes watches silently. "You don't owe him forgiveness," Reyes says softly. Emma doesn't look up. "I know," she replies, "but I owe her understanding." In holding, Tom breaks completely. The tough shell that carried him through years of denial collapses. "She said she was leaving." He sobs to Reyes. "Said she was taking Emma and disappearing. I just wanted to talk. I followed her car. She swerved. I tried to stop her. The road was wet." His voice trails off, lost to shaking breaths. Reyes stares at him. Pity, anger, and exhaustion twisting behind her eyes. "You left her there," she says. He nods, eyes unfocused. "I didn't mean to," he whispers. But guilt and intent have already blurred beyond saving. Emma returns home and places her mother's photo beside the computer, the same screen that revealed the truth. She opens a blank document and begins to type. "My mother was missing for 14 years. I found her with a satellite image." The words flow like confession, not to the world, but to herself. Outside, the night hums softly. She pauses, looks up at the dark window, and catches her reflection. Older now, but finally steady. For the first time, she doesn't feel lost. She feels found. Detective Reyes sifts through Diane Keller's recovered laptop, a relic from another life. Among corrupted files and fragmented folders lies one named Map Journal, 2009. She opens it. The screen flickers, revealing a personal log. Diane had been tracking her routes, marking each drive, each pond, each stop. In the final entry, dated the night she vanished, she wrote, "If something happens to me, look where the map ends." Reyes leans back, chills rising. The coordinates listed match Meadowbrook Pond. Diane hadn't just disappeared. She left breadcrumbs for her daughter to find. Emma receives a call from Reyes. "You should come in." On the detective's screen, an unsent email draft sits open, dated the night of Diane's disappearance, addressed to Emma. "Sweetheart, I'll send this once I'm safe. You deserve to know the truth. I'm leaving your father. He's not who you think he is." Emma stares at the words, her mother's digital voice frozen mid-escape. "She was trying to reach me," she murmurs. Reyes nods. "She almost did." The silence between them feels sacred. A conversation across time, finally answered. Emma returns once more to Meadowbrook Pond, the scene now empty of tape and officers. The water is still, yet she feels its memory pulsing beneath the surface. She traces the perimeter, her mother's map printed in her hand. The marked coordinates form a pattern, each point aligning with places Diane had once written about in her journals. Freedom, fear, faith, forgiveness. The last point, the pond, stands for closure. "You left me a map to peace," Emma whispers. A dragonfly lands on the page, shimmering briefly before lifting away, as if carrying her words. Emma visits Tom one last time in the county jail. He looks smaller now, age finally catching up to the guilt he carried. "She was leaving me," he says softly, "and I couldn't stand the silence." Emma studies him, her father, broken and human, the man who built her world and destroyed it. "I forgive you," she says. "But that's for me, not for you." His eyes glisten, a flicker of the man who once carried her on his shoulders. "You look like her," he whispers. She stands to leave. "I know," she says, and doesn't look back. That night, Emma stands on her balcony, phone in hand, scrolling to the Google Maps view where it all began. The pond still glimmers, now labeled cleared, 2023 recovery site. The satellite image zooms out higher and higher, past the neighborhood, past the city, past Florida's shining coast. From space, her mother's story is just a pixel, but Emma knows what it means. You left me the coordinates, she says quietly, tears catching the starlight. And I followed them home. The Clearwater Library hosts a small memorial. Inside, the scent of old paper and lilies fills the air. Emma stands at a podium, reading from a folded note. My mother taught me that stories keep us alive. Even when no one's listening, the truth finds a way. Her voice steadies halfway through. She glances toward the window, where sunlight filters through branches. The same light her mother once walked under every evening. Detective Reyes watches from the back row. A quiet nod acknowledging both closure and cost. Days later, Emma returns to Meadowbrook Pond with a small urn clasped against her chest. The morning mist curls like breath over the water. She kneels, uncaps it, and lets the ashes fall, scattering in silver ribbons across the pond's still surface. You're home, she whispers. The wind rises gently, catching her hair, carrying the remains outward until they vanish. Behind her, Reyes waits silently, a guardian of closure. The pond ripples once, then stills, as if the earth itself has sighed. Back at her desk, Detective Reyes stares at the reopened case file, now stamped closed. She exhales slowly, the first deep breath she's taken in months. Around her, the precinct buzzes with ordinary life, but she feels apart from it. Changed. On her monitor, she opens Google Maps and types the coordinates Emma once sent. The pond appears, serene, deceptively normal. She zooms in, then out, then whispers, "Rest now." For the first time, the silence feels right. Emma's life begins to move again, gently, quietly. She teaches part-time at a community college, lecturing on digital forensics and how data preserves truth. During one class, she shows the satellite photo of the pond. Sometimes, she tells her students, the world remembers what we try to forget. A few glance up from their screens, suddenly aware of how vast and fragile memory is. When class ends, Emma lingers, looking at the image one last time. No longer haunted, just grateful. High above Clearwater, a satellite captures a new image. The pond, calm and whole again, no trace of tragedy, just a perfect circle of green water under morning light. Somewhere below, Emma walks a familiar path, phone in hand, her mother's coordinates bookmarked forever. The camera pulls higher, clouds drifting, the world vast yet intimate. A daughter's discovery has reshaped an orbit of loss into one of love. In the end, the map didn't lead her to death. It led her home.